Okay, so we're back after a little break to our C# training. I'm Jerry, and hope you liked the previous videos. So we're back to actually learning some C# here. As you can see, I've organized a bit here and added some more text so that it is a bit more comprehensible, and that you can actually get to know some more information from what we're doing here. So currently we've learned more or less what we have by default when we create a project, and what Visual Studio got us. And we've learned a few basic data types. So the logical data type Boolean, bool, right? And then some numerical data types, integer, holding whole numbers, and then float, double, and decimal, all holding floating point numbers, so real numbers, and they differ in precision. We'll see that in a few minutes. And then we have some text data, one holding a single character called char, and then one holding longer text. Well, more characters, more than one. It can hold one, but you can put any amount of characters there. And this one is called string. Now we want to place information in our containers, in our variables. And to put information in our variables is called an assignment. So we need to assign a value to our variable. Now there are two ways of assigning a value to a variable. One is by doing it during declaration, and as you can see, I've added this comment here. I'm sorry. So creating a variable is called declaration. So we declare a variable. So whenever we want to have a container in our code, have a variable so that it holds some information for us, then we are declaring it. So whenever we say like, okay, I want something of type bool, and it's going to be named logical data, and you're declaring a variable, right? So you can assign a value during declaration. So to assign a value, you just put an equality sign and just a little historical information. Different programming languages have different assignment operators, because this equality sign is called an operator. And for example, I think it was Pascal, but some programming languages say like dot equal or something like that. Yeah, and some programming language does not actually distinguish between the equality sign. So whenever you say, okay, if something is equal to something, right, and the actual assignment operator, which is maybe confusing. But in C#, the single equation sign means I want to uh, assign a value to a variable. You should remember that we're going to see the equality operator in a few minutes as well, and then you'll see the difference. And well, the difference is very obvious, and you should know that difference. Okay, so we want to assign a value to our logical data. We said it's going to be a Boolean type, so it's going to be a bool, and this means that we can only assign like true false values to that variable. And this means that we can either say like true, right, and Visual Studio will tell us whenever we hit like T, and will tell us, okay, probably you mean true, right? So you can hit enter, and we can hit false as well. So if you just hit F and then hit enter, you can say false. So yeah, this is assign value during declaration. Yeah, we can also, and I'll do that somewhere here, we can also assign a value just somewhere within our code. And we were working with our logical data, so when I hit L, Visual Studio will try to figure out what I was working on earlier, and when I hit L, it will like, oh, logical data, yeah. So logical data is equal to 2, somewhere here. So yeah, Visual Studio is getting smarter and smarter with every version. Sometimes it will actually get you the variable name which you need to use. Sometimes you'll have to type it in a bit more letters, but it's still way more convenient than in like the early days where you would have to type all the characters for each variable, and you didn't have any help from the programming environment. Okay, so this is assignment within code. Okay, cool. Now we will be assigning some values to our numerical data. And okay, a whole number, let's say 12. Right? We just say 12 and we've just assigned a whole number. For a floating point number, we can say, of course, 12, and that's no problem. Yeah, and as you can see, there's no errors. But okay, floating point numbers, these have a decimal part, right? So something after a dot. So let's just say like 12 and a half. And oh, we get an error. Why? Well, this is because, and I showed you the data types on MSDN. I'm going to try to find that. Yeah. Okay, yeah, here it is. So I showed you this, right? And now each simple data type, so the bool, byte, has a corresponding either a class or a struct, which is actually a .NET framework type, and well, it just has this corresponding data type. So when I hover my mouse over float, it says it's like system single, and when I hover over this 12.5, it says system double, and also we have this description represents a double precision floating point number, and here is a single precision floating point number. Now when I said the difference is in precision, right, because okay, here this is a double actually, the difference in the precision, I said like okay, that's the difference, but also there is this difference memory wise. So the more precision you get, the more memory you use, right? And here just imagine that you are trying to put something big in a small container, and this big thing will just not fit in that small container, and that's why Visual Studio is trying to complain. Okay, so how can we actually get that value to into that? Because well, this is not so precise, it's just 12.5 and there's nothing like back here. We would just want to assign that. And to actually denote a float by just typing it, we need to put an F at the end, right? And then it will actually all be okay. And the same will happen. See, we get an error if we try to assign this 12.5, but no error if we say 12.5F. Now, if we try to assign any floating point number to an int, it'll provide an error because an int is even smaller precision because it just holds whole numbers. It takes less memory than the any floating point numbers. But then, of course, this piece of memory, so a floating point number, will not fit inside an int. Okay, let's go further to our double. So our double is just a simple number, and there are no funny letters at the end, so we can put like 12.5, and this is okay, right? And the last one, actually I get them from multiple sources sometimes when I work with like Excel libraries and or other libraries where I get information from. I get those decimal values, and I never actually thought how to actually assign encode the value of a decimal. And now I actually got to know how to do that. So if I say 12.5, I actually get an error because the decimal type, although it actually holds even more precision, it's a totally different data type. Well, yeah, it's not really not that much compatible with the double, because, for example, if we want to put like the float inside a double, it's no problem. And well, this is actually curious. I'm not sure why this happens, but you can't put a double inside a decimal. You actually have to write the decimal the decimal variable, the decimal value, right? And if you don't remember this, and well, I didn't know this actually, you can see the error below, right? The literal of type double cannot be implicitly converted to type decimal. Use an M suffix. Yeah. And actually, I was thinking suffix. Well, I'm really like not good with suffix and postfix, so I tried first like an M here and it didn't work, so I put an M here, and look, it works. And this is actually, of course, obvious. We use an F here, so we just use an M here. So yeah, that's how we denote a decimal, right? Very cool. Okay, let's go straight into our text data types. So now we are trying to assign a single character, and we denote single characters, and yeah, just some names here, or yeah, names. Whenever we just write the value, these are all called literals. Right, so when we got this error here, right, and it says literal of type double, right, so this is a literal, right, just that you know this, yeah, so that you have the information. Okay, so if we want to create a literal of a type character, so a type char, we put characters in these apostrophes, right? And then we need to put a single letter. Yes, we can't put more than one letter, because then it's not a literal type character. And actually, well, in apostrophes, wherever we would put that in apostrophes, you just have to have a single letter. And I'll show you a cool thing, which I always show. You might say, okay, why there is no error? You just put like 2 characters there. Yeah, well, these are 2 slashes, but this is actually a special character that actually says, okay, it's a character that is 1 slash, right? And there's a couple of those special characters, and I think we'll be actually looking at those probably in a moment. Maybe I'll just get some reference from MSDN so that you can see all those special characters, and maybe we'll play along with them. But just for convenience, we'll just put a capital letter A here, so that you know you can put only a single character in this character literal. Okay, and the last one that we have here is a string type, right? And we assign strings, or we type strings within those quotation marks, right? So yeah, we put those quotation marks, and you saw that the character cannot be empty. Now the string can be empty, because, well, every string might be just empty, so there's nothing inside, and this is totally okay with how Visual Studio looks at it, and well, it's okay. And of course, you can put any text here, so any text here, and Visual Studio will understand that and just create that for you. Okay, so we're more or less done with assigning our variables. So as you can see, okay, we can assign variables during declaration, and we can assign values within code. We're going to assign an additional value to our string because I want to show you how to actually, well, it is very useful when you actually want to put really a long text there. And one thing that you cannot do, just out of the box at least, is you cannot, well, let's say any text here, here is a new line. Yeah, you would think like, okay, but I want to do that, but see, it doesn't understand this, so it like your string should have ended here. And in most programming languages, when you actually create a string, you would have to end it on this particular line. Now, C# allows you to actually go on having multiple lines for your string. Well, you have to do a cool trick. So longer text is equal, and now I'm assigning value within code. So the trick is to put an @ sign before the quotation signs, and now I can put any text here and just go on, and I'll put a tab here and put like 3 tabs here, so that you'll see in a moment that these are also copied and understood. So whatever we type between this character, these two actually, and then this will be our whole string, and it will be understood as a whole, and this is the beginning of the string. It might be confusing for you, so usually when I start doing this, I hit an additional enter so that I can see what is going on. Or then you get this additional enter here, so yeah, might be a bit hard. But what you can do, and yeah, but then you get additional characters. Yeah, well, usually I just hit an additional enter, and I don't care about this one additional enter. But then I can see the whole formatting as I want. So it would actually have this formatting. Okay, so next thing, I want to run the program and show you how it looks like now. So to start your program and see how it works, how it looks like, and so on, you can hit this start button here. Oh, let's click it, and boom, something happened, but not much. We didn't see anything. Okay, maybe we'll go like debug and start debugging. That's the second way of doing that. And yep, our program did something, but well, we didn't see anything. And now if you click here and see like, okay, start debugging is actually F5, and we're actually going to use this F5 because it's way faster than clicking with our mouse, and actually most of the time I'm just working with the keyboard, and the mouse is actually a pointer so that I can show you something, and you will see what am I talking about, right? So yeah, but to start a program I'll just be hitting F5. Okay, our program just blinked, and well, we didn't see much action. And one thing we need to learn is to actually be able to stop our program at certain points so that we can investigate what's going on, and well, see whether all the insides, all the variables have correct values, and so on, so on, so on. So the first way to stop our program and that's the most common way, is using breakpoints. Now you have this gray bar here on the side, and to create a breakpoint, you just click on a certain line. Oh, come on, do that for me, please. Yeah, okay, click on the gray line here, right? And then it will create a breakpoint for you, so a nice red dot on the line on the side. And then it will highlight the line of code which will be our breakpoint in like reddish red Bordeaux or whatever. Yeah. Call it anyhow you like, right? Yeah. And now when we run our program, it will actually stop there, and you have this cool arrow here, right? And the piece of code is highlighted yellow, and as you can see, our program stopped. It flashed a bit, and but it's still here. See, this is our program, and it's frozen, right? Because the debugger, the Visual Studio, stopped its execution at a certain point, and then we can start investigating what's inside and stuff. Yeah, but of course, if we have this breakpoint, so we can hit F5 to continue having the program being run, right? So yeah, but if we have this breakpoint and we check out the folder where our program resides, right? So I'll try to find that folder for you. Yep, it's here. So yeah, the program is the basics, right? I have this breakpoint. I can actually build. Maybe let's rebuild the solution. So everything is built. Yeah. Okay, everything is built. So let's run the program. And oh, where's our breakpoint? Come on. No, there's no breakpoint. Yeah, because well, the breakpoints work only with Visual Studio, right? And you can't stop your program without Visual Studio with breakpoints, right? So the second way to stop your program, if you really want to stop it in like real environment, the release environment, so where when you just send this program to your friend and say like, look at my cool program, and look how it is nice and shiny and cool, right? And then you want to stop it at some certain point so that your friend can like click it and say like, wow, oh yeah, that's a really cool program. Yeah. So yeah, to do so, you actually need to ask the program to do something. And one of the ways to do that is just ask the program to wait for some user input, for the user to press any key, right, on the keyboard. And to have this interaction, we will be actually using one of the tools that's called the console, right? And then if you go over the console, you can see the system.console, right, class, system.console. And console is one of the tools that you have in this box, the namespace system, right? When I said, well, you should think of namespaces as just toolboxes, right? And of course, yeah, it allows you to have the same names so that you can have like two namespaces, and then the same name resides in one namespace and the other, and it's okay. But this is the smaller feature. The bigger feature is just you can group tools, right? And have like, okay, this is my toolbox with like just simple system stuff, right? And the console is actually one of those tools. So console, right? And okay, if you didn't have those usings, right? Maybe let's show that. If you didn't have those usings, and I'm just going to quickly comment those out, and you'll get to know, yeah. Okay, it takes long, right? Yeah, and just imagine you have to do this for 100 lines. It will take like, I don't know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I don't know, right? There's a faster way. You can just like highlight everything. So or with your keyboard. And then there is this shortcut, which I know, but I'll try to find it somewhere here so that you can see that. Yep, and that might be like what? Yeah, here it is. Okay. So, if you go to Edit and then Advanced, there is this key shortcut, Comment Selection and Uncomment Selection. It is very useful to do it fast in code. And my Visual Studio says EC, and yeah, it will actually understand EC. So I'll go EC, right? So I hit Control, right? Let me uncomment that real quick. So yeah, I can go like E, Control E, and I take my hand off the keyboard, and then if I press C, I will comment that. But you can both do just holding Control. You can go E and then C, right? Both work. Okay. So this is just commenting stuff. Now, when I just comment this, then these are not used, so the program will not know that I want to use these toolboxes. So if I type console here, I can't see it. So because now I'm actually seeing only the most basic C# without any tools, right? But still, I can use the console without having those usings. The only thing I need to say is, okay, my tool is somewhere in the system, so I'll go System, and then I'll put a dot, which means I'm opening this toolbox, and then inside it there is something called console, right? And then I can use the console as well. And this is sometimes useful if you don't want to have like a million of usings, because you're using like a ton of things, and this is just for using it just one time, right? And then you'll never use it again. So you can just do it like this. And the second thing, and I think this is more important, is sometimes when you're writing code and you really want to say what tools are you using, so you don't want to use the abbreviations, or in a way you want people that will be reading your code know where those tools reside, then you'll be using the full path to the tool, right? But we want to be a bit quicker, and we'll be just using the short version. So we'll use the console as is. One thing about commenting, I saw that the most usual key shortcut for commenting and uncommenting is actually with the KChar, because I'm not sure why, but on some Visual Studios the EC doesn't work, but the KC and KU works very good. And even though you can't see the KC and the EC here, so here it actually works. And the funny thing is, it works in those Visual Studios where the EC doesn't work. So that's weird. Okay, so we're going to use the console to actually do some stuff for us, and you can see there is a ton of things here that we can use. And what we want to do is, we wanted to stop our program. We want to wait for some user input, and this input will be from the keyboard. And what we want to tell the console is, okay, we want you to read. So read a key from the keyboard, right? So, and if we read this description here, it says obtains the next character or function key pressed by the user. The press key is optionally displayed in the console window. Okay, the second functionality doesn't matter much, but this will actually get one key pressed by the user. That's very good. So now let's run our program. And here's our program. You can see it's stopped. We don't have any breakpoints. And let's zoom out so that you can see that no breakpoints, no red lines. Well, this red is just the text, right? And here is just the text. But there are no breakpoints, and our program is still stopped. And now I'll press a key and see program ended. So it was waiting for some user input. Okay, so we're almost there, and we'll actually make our program now do something actually. And usually people do this as the first program ever done in C# and say hello world program. But I actually tend to start with some basics and some theory. So we want to have some variables. I tell you more information about, like, okay, what they can hold. I group them, and then finally I create this first hello world program. So that's the way I'm doing stuff. But other teachers can do whatever they want. Okay, so let's write our first hello world program. So we'll be putting some text on the console, so we can see something on the console. So we'll use the console as again, right? And now there are two methods, right? Yeah. Just because we're really thinking fast and stuff, then we mix up the word procedure, method, and function. In C#, the functions and procedures within classes, and everything is a class. That's what I think, and I'll try to. Well, I'll just be going on with this. So everything is a class in C#, and classes have methods. They don't have functions. They don't have procedures. But don't worry if you say functions or procedures. I won't care. Well, I'm not working for a university. I'm not giving you grades, so I don't care, and I'll understand if you say like a function. Okay, we have these two methods for putting some text on the console. One is write, and the other one is write line. So let's start with the write method. So hello world, yeah. Okay, very nice, and we'll run the program. Yep, and we can see our text here. Very nice. Cool, and it's waiting for user input. So if I hit any key, it finishes. Okay, let's add some more text here. More text. Right, and run our program. And you can see what write actually does. Write is just writing text, right? So it started here, and it's just writing text. It will be going here, 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 here. Here the console finishes, so it will go like here, and so on, so on, so on. So no line breaks, and won't go with enter keys. So if we use the other method, so the write line, you see a different thing happening. So each text that we write will be written in its own line, right? Of course, if it's going to be really long, and let's just make something really long, okay, more text and really more text. Is that? Oh, it's not enough. Come on. Hey, some more text. Yeah, come on. Okay, yeah, this is good. So yeah, so you can see, right? Cool. Okay, so it will wrap the text, right? Okay. Yeah, but there is another way. So if I use write and I put a write here, so console write like this, and okay, one more here. and a nice smiley face. So now we have one more here, and I said mode text. I do a lot of typos. I'm sorry. I'm just doing this too fast in my brain. And speaking and typing on the keyboard is really hard, and believe me, it is hard. So just forgive me, okay? So now, well, we knew that this would happen because write would actually create some text, and then WriteLine will add this to the previous one and then finish it with a line break. Well, we can actually make write do a line break. Oh, and the console did it again. Yeah, I love this. See, these should be green and this should be green as well, but it's not. I'm not sure why. If you hit enter, it'll get green again. It's just something weird that happens from time to time. Don't worry. It's not an error in your code. It's just I think it's code highlighting. It's getting confused a bit, and that's why it does this. Okay, so I told you there are some special characters, and one of those special characters is this /n, which means new line, and in theory it should work, and it works. Very nice. But in practice, well, okay, /n will work for sure in most circumstances, but Windows actually likes another character here, and that is the carriage return. Oh, and now I remembered. Okay, this is called a carriage. This blinking thing is called a carriage. Yeah, and well, just Google it and see what is a carriage in just computers, right? But if we want a new line, then a new line will be created. So, like, okay, this is the new line that is created, but the carriage is still where it was, right? So we need to return the carriage back, and in some circumstances Windows needs that. So to be sure that Windows understands what we're telling it to do, we use two characters here. So this is the carriage return, so /r carriage return, and then /n new line, right? This way Windows will do like, okay, carriage return, so go back here, and then new line, okay, new line here. So that's how it does, and then we're on the safe side, and we will see a proper result. So this is something that you should remember, and please do. Okay, so now we can create a program that will actually generate a lot of text for us. Maybe a program that will just do something cool, because it will be like an essay or something, or a book that you can read. Yeah. But what we wanted to do here is actually print out some information that we stored in our variables, right? So we have this logical data, some numbers, and some text, right? So to do so, well, we just use the console, right? And we can just do the write. And I'm going to use the WriteLine so that we can, because both write and WriteLine work the same way, just WriteLine writes everything in, well, ending with a new line, right? So because it's not writing everything in a new line, that's not true. It writes from wherever the previous thing stopped, and then creates a new line at the end. Okay, so let's write our logical data. So like this, and run our program, and we can see, okay, we have the value true. Now I'm going to pause here really quickly and then create all that for our other variables, so it's not really boring me typing the code. So please wait a second. Okay, I'm kind of done. So we had this logical data here, and then I added these lines, and I commented this one out just for now, so that we can see this one. Because if we assign this and then assign something else, then we'll get the something else and not this. And I want to jump to this in a second, so I'll just want to show first this, and then I will see the other one. Okay, so let's run our program. So I did the same thing which I did with the logical data, just added different variables within it. The ones that we actually declared like here, right? So that's what I did. And let's run the program and see what we get. So we have the hello world and one more here, and then both text, which was supposed to be more text. Then we have the logical value true because, well, first we assign on declaration a false value, and then we assign again and say true. That's why we get the true value here, right? So that's this line of code, right? And then we have a whole number of 12, cool. And then we have 312.5, so it's like float, double, and decimal, right? And we have the character A, because we assigned a single character A, right, here. And then we have any text here, because that's what we assigned to our string. Okay, cool. So send the program. Let's uncomment this one really quick and see. And I'll put this here so that you can see both. So this is this text, right? And then we have the longer text later on. So where it is? Come on. Any text here? It should be. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's before the hello world. So now we have any text here, then the hello world and all the things that we wrote. Right, then we have logical data. And then I told you that this will actually remember all the spaces, characters, and everything here, right? So now we have this, right? It's pretty cool, right? All right. And one more thing that you can do in C# is you can actually concatenate strings. So you can join a few lines. So you could say hello world. It's good to have you here, right? Something like this. So actually we have here one string, and then here's another one, and we just put this plus sign here, and we join both strings together. And I put a space here because if I didn't, then the D would be next to the I without a space. So I put one space here. If we run this here, then it's like, hello world, it's good to have you here. Yep. And we can do the same thing with our variables. So we could say like logical data is equal to, and then plus, and then the variable, and then we should have this written here, right? And there is one more thing. Sometimes Visual Studio might complain. I don't remember the situations, but I remember it did complain because it's like it wants to have a string here, and sometimes it doesn't get a string here. So everything is an object in C#, and I tend to think so because yeah, everything is an object. And actually object is a type, and is the most basic type. I mean, this is everything is an object. And yeah, and then if everything is an object, let's just define an object here. Object O. I said O. Yeah. And if we go to everything that the object can do, so we put a dot, then we can see like, okay, there are 4 things this object can do. And well, the 3 first things we're not going to use now. But there is one that actually is really important for us, and it's a toString, which just tells our object, okay, I want the text representation of you, of the object. And as I said, everything is an object, so actually everything should have this toString method, right? So whenever the compiler or Visual Studio complains that, okay, you should not, I don't know how to convert this into string, then just put this toString and you'll get a text representation, whatever that might be. Sometimes it might be something that is like still useless for you, so you'll have to figure out how to actually create something that will be readable for you, and then you have to actually create that. But sometimes it will just make something that's fairly okay, right? So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So you can say logical data and then print it that in two ways. So like this and like this. Two ways of printing a variable string representation. Just printing it and then using the toString method. Okay, so let's just wrap this really quickly, and we'll be having another video in a few minutes. So we've learned how to assign values to our variables, to our basic data types, and we've learned how to stop our program, both using breakpoints, so something like this, right? And using the console read key, which actually stops the program. Oh, I didn't show you. Yeah, so it stops here, right? And it's also, if you run it from the exe, it'll still stop, right? So that's the difference between the breakpoint and something that you actually do in your code. Yeah, so we've learned how to stop our program in code and with breakpoints in Visual Studio, and we've learned the simple text methods from the console to be able to print out some text and print out the values of our variables. Okay, so this is it for this video. Thanks for watching, and have a good day. See ya.